Right. So you've all been following the news out of Ukraine and sending in some stuff about it.
Yeah.
And so we're taking a look at this excerpt of an interview with Michael Bociurkiw.
Okay.
He's a global affairs analyst with the Atlantic Council.
Right.
And he's been reporting from Ukraine.
Wow.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
So we're kind of diving into this question of whether these new weapons that the U.S. is sending are too little too late.
I think it's a question on everyone's minds right now.
Yeah.
What I think is so interesting about Bociurkiw's take is that he's been there on the ground in Ukraine for most of the war, so he's really seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
And it seems like, from what he's saying, these new weapons, like the anti-personnel mines, and the approval to use missiles supplied by the U.S. to strike inside of Russia.
Whoa.
Those are definitely big developments.
Yeah.
But he seems to think that they might not be enough at this point.
It's almost like, are they just symbolic?
Right. Is it just for show?
Yeah. And he talks about how the Ukrainians have been waiting for these weapons for so long.
Right.
And how they could be used to target key Russian military headquarters.
Makes sense.
Even the Kerch Bridge.
Oh, wow.
Which is a major supply route for the Russian troops.
Huge target.
Yeah. And I was thinking that hitting the Kerch Bridge would be a major symbolic victory.
Oh, totally.
For Ukraine.
Definitely. And it's not just symbolic either.
No.
I mean, the Kerch Bridge was one of Putin's big projects.
Yeah, it was a huge infrastructure project.
Yeah, connecting Russia to Crimea, so taking it out would be a major blow to them.
Oh.
Not just to their supplies, but also just like a psychological hit.
Yeah.
You know?
We show that they're vulnerable.
Exactly.
Yeah, and what's really striking is that Bociurkiw, in this interview, he talks about hearing anti-aircraft fire and a drone attack in Kyiv while he's doing the interview.
Oh, wow. So it's right there.
Yeah, it just highlights that this war is still very much ongoing.
Yeah. And it's not just Kyiv either. You know, we've seen an uptick in attacks on Ukrainian cities recently.
Yeah.
Like that awful attack on the residential building in Odessa.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
He says that it was just apocalyptic.
Yeah, it's awful. At least 10 people dead, 47 injured.
It's so sad.
It's just a reminder of the constant danger there, and it makes Bociurkiw's anxiety about the situation even more understandable.
I can only imagine what it's like being there.
Right.
Yeah, and it adds a whole other layer to this question of too little, too late.
Yeah.
On the one hand, we have these new weapons, especially those anti-personnel mines. They're supposed to be much more advanced than what Ukraine currently has, and the ability to strike targets within Russia. That could really disrupt their supply lines.
Right.
So that offers some hope. But on the other hand, you have this escalating violence, this feeling that the conflict is spiraling out of control.
So is this move by the U.S. really a game changer, or is it more symbolic, a way to show support?
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like trying to fix a flat tire while the car is still moving.
Oh, I like that.
You know, you have to weigh the potential impact of these weapons, the disruption they could cause against the momentum of the conflict, the escalating attacks, and what each side is ultimately trying to achieve.
And speaking of goals, Bociurkiw doesn't really talk about what those might be.
True.
Beyond just the immediate military objectives.
Right.
What is the end game here?
That's the scary part, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think Bociurkiw's anxiety speaks volumes, even with these new weapons.
Yeah.
The path to peace, to a solution that works for both sides.
Right.
It's really unclear. And if someone like him, who's right in the middle of it, is that uncertain, well, it makes you wonder what the future holds.
Right. Because it's not just about weapons, is it?
No, it's about so much more.
Yeah.
It's about the politics, the economics.
Yeah.
The potential for things to go wrong.
Unintended consequences.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that's what we should all be thinking about as we watch this conflict unfold.
Yeah.
Beyond the headlines about weapons and fighting, what are the deeper forces at play here?
Right.
And what would a real lasting solution look like?
Those are the questions we need to keep asking.
Definitely.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And as always, keep those tough questions coming.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next time.
See you later, Day.